I have a soft spot for the poems of Jared Manley Hopkins, and there's something very much that's grace infused about this, because when I was at school, I really couldn't cope with the way he, well, as I thought, messed about with words. Now I'm less worried about things having to make sense and be ordered properly. I just go with the flow of his words, and having let go of that desire to fit his words into my way of thinking, well, I think I actually get him now. Grace is a strange and mysterious thing, and I suspect grace works best when we're more willing to go with God's flow. And yet such is the nature and power of grace that it can work despite our best efforts to go another way. God, in love, always finds a way to bring about that ongoing work of transformation. As to Hopkins, his poem God's Grandeur is infused with grace. It begins with wonder at God's handiwork in creation, and then moves to comment on how quickly humans try to despoil the beauty all around which is taken for granted. Humans so out of touch with the earth, for feet shod cannot feel the soil. And yet, even so, God is still at work, unslumbering, never resting, and God's grace is shown in the freshness of things deep down, hope, new birth, renewal. If you really look for it, you might even find resurrection within this poem. God's Spirit hovers tenderly, warmly, brightly shining in the drear and in the dark. It's a wonderful poem. God's Grandeur. The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining from shook foil. It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil crushed. Why do men then now not wreck his rod? Generations have trod, and all is seared with trade, bleared, smeared with toil, and wears man's smudge and shares man's smell. The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod. And for all this nature is never spent, there lives the dearest freshness deep down things. And though the last lights of the black west went, oh, morning at the brown brink eastward springs, because the Holy Ghost over the bent world broods with warm breast and with, bright wings. And thinking of grace, as we move into that time within worship where we acknowledge gifts and talents given in service to God, we listen to the hymn, Amazing Grace.